In this video tutorial, we're going to look at fraction equations. So you solve it like you would a regular equation, but there's a fraction, so you have to be able to do operations with fractions. And I'm going to focus on number 6 and 7 from the study guide for the final exam. So for number 6, a minus 1/7 equals 2/3. Basically, I want to know there's some number that when I subtract 1/7, I'm going to get 2/3. So if you think about it without fractions, because fractions are scary, but if you just think about it with regular numbers, what would you do? If it was some number minus 1 equals 2, what would you do to find the answer? You would add 1 plus 2. You would undo subtracting, and you would add, and you would find out that 3 minus 1 equals 2. So we're doing the same thing, except we're doing it with fractions. So if I want to solve for a, I need to isolate the variable. I need to move everything that's on the a side to the other side. Well, I can't just pick it up and move it. I have to do the opposite. Instead of subtracting 1/7, I need to add 1/7. And if I do it to this side, because 1/7 minus 1/7 will make 0, I have to do it to this side to keep it balanced, because the equal signs means they're balanced. So 1/7 minus 1/7 is 0, so I just have a. And now I need to figure out how to add 2/3 plus 1/7. The first thing I need to do is I need to get a common denominator. So I need to get a denominator that 3 and 7 can both go into. The easiest way to do that is to multiply them. 3 times 7 is 21. And that just happens to be our least common denominator because they don't have any common factors. So what do I do to 7 to get 21? I do 7 times 3. And so I need to do the same thing to the numerator to get my new numerator. I'm making an equivalent fraction. And what do I have to do? 3 to get 21, I have to multiply times 7, so I have to multiply the numerator times 7. Now I can add, because now I have two fractions with the same denominator. So I can just do 14 plus 3 is 17 over 21. So a equals 17 over 21, and I ask myself, is there anything that can go into 17 and 21? Can I reduce this? Can I put it in lowest terms? And no, it's already in lowest terms. So a equals 17 over 21, and if I put that back into the equation and subtract 1/7, I will get 2/3. Let's look at number 7. Number 7 is solve 2/5 y equals 6. 2/5 y equals 6. So again, if you look at it without it being a fraction, and it was 2y, 2 times something equals 6, then you would say, well, how do I figure that out? Well, if it's 2 times something equals 6, then if I divide by 2, I'll know that y is 3. So we're going to do the same thing, except it's a fraction. I am multiplying 2/5 times y. So if I want to get y by itself, if I want to move this to the other side, which I do, so I can figure out what it equals, I have to undo multiplying. So you undo multiplying by dividing. And anything divided by itself is 1. So I have 1y. I'm not going to write the 1 because I know that there's an imaginary 1 there. And then to solve this part, I need to do 6 divided by 2/5. Well, it's easy for me to write it out like this. 6 divided by 2 over 5. So in order to divide by a fraction, you need to multiply by the reciprocal. In order to divide by a fraction, you need to multiply by the reciprocal. So that means this is 6 over 1. I'm going to make this a fraction, but it's still the same number. It stays the same. I'm going to change the division to multiplying, and I'm going to get the reciprocal of 2 over 5. The reciprocal of 2 over 5 is the flip. It's what you multiply times 2 over 5 to make 1. So if I wanted to multiply it times something to make it equal 1, I would multiply it times 5 over 2, because that would be 10 over 10. That would equal 1. So the reciprocal of 2/5 is 5/2. Then when I multiply top times top, 6 times 5. And I multiply bottom times bottom, 1 times 2. And I can't leave it improper. So I need to go ahead and divide 2 into 30. If my top number, if my numerator is bigger than the denominator, then I have to divide. And 2 goes into 30 15 times. So y equals 15. And if I put this 15 back in for y and did 2/5 times 15, it will equal 6. So the solution is y equals 15.